The white satin train of Claire Reynolds' wedding dress spread across the marble floor of Grace Chapel, a cruel reminder of everything she had lost in a single afternoon. She sat alone in the front pew, veil still on, bouquet of white roses trembling in her hands. Just an hour earlier, the church had been filled with 200 guests. Now only her quiet sobs echoed against the empty walls while janitors swept confetti outside. Her groom, Daniel, hadn't hesitated. When his ex, Lauren, barged in shouting she was pregnant, he froze, then bolted. He grabbed Lauren's hand, and together they vanished through a side door, leaving Claire frozen at the altar. The pastor dismissed the stunned guests with an awkward cough. Bridesmaids tried to comfort her, but she waved them away. Her makeup streaked, hair undone. She thought of the reception hall still filled with flowers, cake, and meals no one would touch. Her phone buzzed with messages she couldn't face. Then the church door opened. A little black girl in a yellow dress, maybe 6, walked shyly down the aisle. Her big brown eyes glistened. "Are you okay, pretty lady?" she asked. Claire forced a fragile smile. "I'm fine, sweetie. Are you here with someone?" The girl shook her head. "My daddy's looking for me, but I saw you crying. I wanted to help." She stepped closer, her little face creased with worry. "Why are you so sad in your pretty white dress?" Claire's heart splintered again. How could she explain betrayal to a child? "Sometimes grown-ups make promises they don't keep," she said softly. The girl nodded, wise beyond her years. "My mommy promised to stay, but she had to go to heaven when I was born. Daddy says sometimes promises break, but not because people want to." Claire's chest ached. "I'm sorry about your mommy, honey." The girl smiled faintly. "Daddy takes care of me, but I still wish I had a mommy." She climbed onto the pew, smoothing her yellow dress. "You look like you need a hug." Without waiting, she wrapped her arms around Claire's waist. Fresh tears spilled, but these felt healing. "What's your name?" Claire asked. "Layla Mitchell." "What's yours?" "Claire Reynolds." Layla studied her seriously. "Miss Claire, you need a home, and I need a mommy. Maybe we can help each other." Before Claire could respond, footsteps echoed. A man's urgent voice called Layla. Moments later, a tall man in a navy suit appeared, David Mitchell. Relief softened his green eyes, then shifted to confusion as he saw his daughter comforting a bride in tears. "Layla, you scared me," he said, before turning to Claire. "I'm sorry if she's troubling you." Claire shook her head. "She's been wonderful company." Layla piped up, "Daddy, Miss Claire is sad. I told her maybe we could help each other." David's expression flickered with embarrassment, concern, and something deeper. Sitting opposite, he met Claire's eyes. "I don't want to pry, but are you all right? Should I call someone?" Claire gave a shaky laugh. "No. My groom ran away today, with his ex." David's face darkened with anger on her behalf. "What kind of man leaves his bride at the altar?" David asked, his voice taut with anger. "I'm sorry that's not my place. But it's incredibly cruel." Layla listened intently, her small face scrunching with outrage. "That was mean, Miss Claire. You're too pretty and nice to be treated bad like that." Despite herself, Claire smiled at the child's fierce loyalty. "Thank you, Layla. That means a lot." "She's right," David added quietly. "Anyone who'd do that doesn't deserve you." His sincerity touched Claire more than all the hollow condolences she'd heard earlier. "Daddy," Layla tugged his sleeve. "Miss Claire doesn't have anywhere to go, does she? We should help her." David hesitated, but Claire shook her head. "Most of my friends were at the wedding. My family's far away. Honestly, I have no plan. I spent all my savings." "What do you do?" he asked gently. "Second-grade teacher," Claire said with a faint smile. "I love kids, honest and pure-hearted like Layla." Layla beamed. "Daddy, she loves children. This is perfect." David ran a hand through his hair. "I know this sounds crazy, but would you like to stay with us tonight? We have a guest room." Claire blinked. "I couldn't impose. Sometimes the best people are the ones you haven't met yet," Layla declared. David chuckled. "She gets that from her grandmother. No strings attached. Just kindness." Claire's eyes filled with tears, this time tears of hope. "Say yes," Layla urged, squeezing her hand. "Daddy makes the best pancakes. And I've got lots of books." Claire looked at them both, their faces open with warmth. "If you're sure, it's no trouble," David assured her. "You'd be doing us a favor." Layla squeezed Claire's hand. "This is going to be wonderful. You can stay as long as you want, and we'll be friends forever." Just 20 minutes earlier, David Mitchell had been pacing the church lobby, panic gripping him as he realized his daughter was gone. One moment, she was beside him, marveling at the stained glass windows while he spoke with Pastor Williams about a community outreach project. The next, she had vanished. "Layla," he called softly at first, then louder, his voice tight with fear. Pastor Williams searched the classrooms while David scoured the sanctuary. His mind raced with awful possibilities. Had someone taken her? Had she wandered outside? Layla was adventurous, but she rarely disobeyed. They were visiting the church because David's architectural firm was considering it for pro bono renovations, reinforcements, accessibility, preservation. Layla had been fascinated by the colored lights scattering across the floor, chasing it with her hands. As he searched, David's thoughts turned inward. Raising Layla alone since his wife Elena died during childbirth had been the hardest journey of his life. Sleepless nights, bottles, endless questions about whether he was enough. He'd dated since, but nothing lasted. Some women seemed drawn to his success, others struggled with him being a father first. And Layla's happiness always came first. Though she thrived, lately she'd asked more about mothers, comparing herself to friends with elaborate parties and crafty moms. The fear of losing her now cut deep. When he finally found her, safe, unharmed, and sitting beside a crying bride, relief washed over him. And when he saw Layla comforting Claire with gentle wisdom, David realized she wasn't rebelling. She was becoming the kind, empathetic soul he'd raised her to be. She was being exactly who he'd raised her to be, kind, empathetic, and brave enough to comfort someone in need. And the woman she comforted, David had felt something stir the moment he saw her. Even with streaked makeup and tangled hair, even broken-hearted in a ruined wedding gown, there was a quiet strength about Claire that drew him in. Maybe it was the gentle tone she used with Layla, or the way she smiled through tears when his daughter hugged her. When Layla boldly declared her wish for Claire to be her new mother, David had been mortified. Yet Claire hadn't flinched. Her eyes had flickered with something almost like hope. Her story made his blood boil. What kind of coward abandoned his bride? David had only shared 2 short years with Elena before losing her, but he'd learned then that real love meant showing up, no matter what. Offering Claire a safe place felt like basic decency, but he couldn't deny a deeper pull. The way Layla clung to Claire with fierce affection, it was remarkable. As they left the church, David wondered if this was the start of something larger. The drive home was quiet, Layla chattering about her books and pet goldfish, Bubbles, while Claire sat beside her in the back seat, dazed but grateful. "Miss Claire," Layla piped up, "are you hungry? Daddy says food helps your brain think better." Claire realized she hadn't eaten since morning. "Actually, I am." "Perfect. Daddy, can we stop?" David caught Claire's eyes in the mirror. "There's a deli ahead. My treat." She protested, but Layla patted her hand. "Daddy says letting people help makes everyone happy." Claire smiled, her first real smile all day. "You're right, Layla. Thank you." They stopped at Miller's Deli, where David insisted on buying food for all 3. While they waited for sandwiches, Layla held Claire's hand, chattering about school, her best friend Kayla, and her art teacher who let her use the good pencils. "I'm in 1st grade, Layla announced proudly. "Next year I'll be in 2nd. "What grade do you teach, Miss Claire?" "2nd grade, Claire replied, her teacher's warmth flickering back. Layla's eyes widened. "Really? Maybe you could be my teacher. That would be the best ever." David watched in amazement. In less than an hour, his usually reserved daughter had opened up completely, and Claire, despite her heartbreak, was responding with genuine care. Back in the car, David spoke suddenly. "Your reception, it's already paid for?" Claire's face fell. "Yes. All that food and music wasted." "No," David said firmly. "We're going. Why let it go unused? Layla, want to go to a fancy party with dancing and cake?" "Yes." Layla squealed. Then she frowned. "But won't it make you sad, Miss Claire?" Claire hesitated, then smiled at their encouraging faces. "Maybe not. Maybe it will make me happy, with people who actually care." "That's the spirit," David said warmly. "Besides, you look beautiful. It would be a shame not to dance in that dress." "I can dance too." Layla bounced. "Grandma Elena taught me to waltz. She says Mommy would want me to know how to be a lady." Claire's heart squeezed. "I'm sure your mommy is very proud of you." Layla nodded. "And I think she'd like you, Miss Claire. You're kind like Daddy says she was." David cleared his throat, eyes misting. At the reception hall, the staff looked puzzled but accommodating. With a swipe of his card, David declared, "We'd like to enjoy the celebration, just the three of us." The hall was breathtaking, white flowers spilling over every surface, soft music filling the air. And as Claire stepped inside with David and Layla, she realized maybe, just maybe, it could still be magical. "Oh my goodness," Layla whispered, eyes wide at the elegant decorations. "Would you like to see the cake?" Claire asked, leading them to the towering three-tier masterpiece covered in fondant flowers. "It's so fancy," Layla marveled. "Can we really eat it?" "We can eat whatever we want," David said, lifting her so she could see better. "This is our party now." Dinner was served at a beautifully decorated table, and to Claire's surprise, she actually enjoyed it. Layla's joy was contagious, and David proved warm and thoughtful company. "What made you want to be a teacher?" David asked over cake. "I've always loved children," Claire said. "They're honest, full of possibility. Every day feels new through their eyes." "That's how I feel about Layla," David smiled at his daughter. "She shows me what I'd never notice alone." Claire asked, "And architecture?" "I like building things that last," he said quietly. "Places where families make memories long after I'm gone." His depth struck her, so unlike Michael's shallow pursuits. When the music started, David offered his hand. "Would you like to dance?" She hesitated, then joined him. On the floor, he was steady, graceful, guiding her through simple steps. "Thank you," she whispered, "for everything." "You're stronger than you know," he said, "but I'm glad we found each other today." Layla clapped along happily, joining them for playful songs. Later, drowsy and content, she curled against Claire. This was the best party ever. "Can Miss Claire stay forever?" David and Claire exchanged a look, both wondering the same. The next morning, Claire awoke in David's guest room, sunlight spilling across soft blue walls and shelves of books. For a blissful moment, she forgot. Then memories returned, but instead of despair, she thought of Layla's smile, David's kind eyes, and their dance beneath the lights. A knock at the door broke her thoughts. "Miss Claire." Layla's small voice called. "Are you awake?" "Daddy made pancakes," Layla called. Claire smiled, pulling on the robe David had lent her. "I'm awake, sweetheart. 5 minutes." She tugged pins from her hair, washed her face, and caught her reflection, tired, pale, yet somehow more herself than she'd been in months. Downstairs, David flipped pancakes at the stove while Layla, in jeans and a unicorn t-shirt, sat at the table. "Good morning," David said warmly. "Sleep well." "Better than I have in weeks," Claire admitted. "Thank you for staying," Layla added earnestly. "I was scared you'd vanish like a fairy godmother." David chuckled. "She's been reading too many fairy tales." "Nothing wrong with believing in magic," Claire said, sitting beside Layla. Over breakfast, Layla chattered about ballet class. David glanced at Claire. "What are your plans today? Need us to drive you anywhere?" Reality hit again. "I should pack. My lease ends soon, and I'll need somewhere new." "Not much time," David murmured. "Any place in mind?" Claire shook her head. "Maybe a roommate. Something cheap." Layla's eyes widened. "Daddy, why can't Miss Claire stay here? She could help me with homework and bedtime stories." David nearly choked. "Honey, Miss Claire has her own life. We're not strangers anymore." Layla protested. Claire felt touched but shook her head. "You've done so much already." But Layla pressed on. "Miss Claire, do you like kids?" "Yes." "Do you like cooking, cleaning, taking care of people?" "I suppose so." Triumphant, Layla turned to her father. "See? She could be my nanny. You could pay her, and she wouldn't have to worry about money." David looked mortified, but Claire stared at Layla in amazement. The child had offered the perfect solution. "Actually," Claire said slowly, "that's not a bad idea." David blinked. "You can't be serious." "Why not?" "I'm qualified, and Sophie," she corrected herself. "Layla loves me already. And maybe you could use help." David fell silent, clearly turning the thought over. "I don't want you to feel pressured," David said seriously. "If you take this job, it should be because you truly want to, not because of circumstances." "I do want to," Claire replied, surprising herself with the honesty of it. "Yesterday was the worst day of my life. But meeting you and Layla, it was the best part. I'd love to be part of your family, even if just as an employee." "You wouldn't be just an employee," Layla insisted. "You'd be family. Right, Daddy?" David glanced between them, seeing hope in both faces. "If we're doing this, let's do it properly. Claire, would you be interested in a live-in nanny position? Room, board, plus a salary. You'd have your own space in the guest house. Claire's heart leapt. The guest house was small but bright, with a cozy kitchen, airy bedroom, and garden view, a fairy tale cottage. "It's wonderful," Claire admitted. "But are you sure? You don't really know me." "You're perfect," Layla said firmly. David smiled. "She's a good judge of character, and I could use the help." "Then it's settled." Layla clapped. "Miss Claire is going to live with us, and we'll be the happiest family ever." Tears welled in Claire's eyes, this time, tears of gratitude. Just yesterday, she'd lost everything. Now she had a job, a home, and people who cared. "There's one condition," David added. "Layla, you must listen to Miss Claire like you do me. And Claire, if it ever doesn't work, you tell me honestly. Deal?" "Deal," Claire said at once. "Deal." Layla echoed. 3 weeks later, Claire had settled into a rhythm. Mornings began with sunrise coffee in her cottage before helping Layla with school prep, braiding her hair, packing lunches with sweet notes. Layla was bright and independent, but adored Claire's touches. "Miss Claire," Layla asked one morning on their walk to school, "do you think my mommy would like you?" The question caught Claire off guard. "I hope she would, sweetheart. Why do you ask?" "I dream about her sometimes," Layla said matter-of-factly. "Last night, I dreamed she came to visit, and you were there too. And she told me she was happy I had you to take care of me," Layla said softly. Claire's heart clenched. "That sounds like a beautiful dream." It was. She looked just like in Daddy's pictures, but she wore a pretty white dress like yours. She wasn't sad in heaven because she knew Daddy and I were happy. The child's simple faith moved Claire deeply. Layla had lost her mother, yet carried her memory as comfort, not pain. At school, Claire quickly became known as Layla's Claire. Other parents noticed how adored she was, inviting her to book clubs and playdates. "You're so lucky to have such a wonderful nanny," one mother, Patricia, remarked. "Layla feels so secure with you." Claire had often doubted her impact teaching in crowded classrooms. With Layla, she could see real change, improved grades, confidence, empathy, and joy. Afternoons were filled with homework, garden play, and Claire's quiet housekeeping. She learned David's favorite meals, filling the house with warmth and laughter. On evenings David worked from home, they shared a rhythm. His drafting in the sunroom, Layla coloring nearby, Claire reading lesson plans. It felt like family. One night, David returned late to find Layla on a stool, arranging pepperoni, as Claire guided her hands. "Something smells amazing," he said, loosening his tie. "Miss Claire is teaching me pizza from scratch." Layla announced, "We made your favorite mushrooms and olives." David's heart twisted as he watched them. The house had never felt so alive. He found himself eager to come home, not just for Layla, but for Claire too. Her smile, her questions, her genuine care. "How was your school board meeting?" Claire asked as they sat to eat. David was touched, she remembered. "Good. They approved renovations. Kids in wheelchairs will have easier access." "That's wonderful," Claire said warmly. Layla beamed. "You help people with your buildings, don't you, Daddy?" "I try to," David said. "Buildings should work for everyone," Layla said wisely, "just like family should work for everyone in it." Her words left both adults quiet. Later that night, after Layla was asleep, David found Claire in the garden, curled up with pride and prejudice. Dressed in jeans and a soft sweater, her hair loose, she looked peaceful. "Good book?" he asked. "Jane Austen," she smiled. "I read it every year. There's comfort in stories where everything works out in the end." "Do you think real life works out that way?" David asked. "I used to think so. Then I thought it didn't. Now, maybe it depends on how you define it. 3 weeks ago, I thought my life was ruined. Tonight, I feel happier than I have in years." David's voice softened. "We're both happier since you came here. Layla talks about you constantly. She feels more secure." "She's amazing," Claire said warmly. "You've raised her so well." "She gets that from her mother," David said quietly. "Elena always found silver linings. Even when she was dying, she told me our daughter would bring joy, not sadness." He paused. "I think she'd have liked you, Claire, and she'd be grateful Layla has you." The words lingered, heavy with unspoken meaning. Sitting together under the soft hum of night, both felt something new, something like love beginning. A month later, Claire woke to sunshine and Layla's laughter drifting from the main house. In the kitchen, she found David and Layla dusted in flour, flipping celebration pancakes. The community center project was approved, David grinned. "That's wonderful," Claire said, knowing how much it meant to him. "We made these for you," Layla said, arranging blueberries into a smiley face. Breakfast was laughter and warmth. David marveled at the change in both his daughter and Claire, Layla glowing with confidence, Claire lighter, more at ease. But he'd also noticed moments of distance in Claire's eyes, as if wrestling with shadows. That afternoon, with Layla at a birthday party, David joined Claire in the garden. She knelt among rose bushes, pulling weeds. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I want to," she replied. "It's therapeutic." They worked quietly until David asked, "Can I ask you something personal? Do you still think about him? Your ex-fiancé?" Claire paused, then nodded. "At first, I thought of him every day. I replayed everything, angry, humiliated, wondering what I missed. But now, I see I was forcing something that was never real. On paper, we looked perfect. But we never had what you and Elena had, or what I see in truly happy couples." "We never really knew each other," Claire admitted. "He liked the idea of me, not the real me. I stayed because I was afraid of being alone." "It wasn't your fault," David said. "No, but staying was my choice. I was scared no one else would love me." David wanted to tell her she was remarkable, but instead asked, "Do you still want marriage, a family?" "I do. But real this time. Someone who knows my flaws, shows up, keeps promises." She glanced at him. "Like you." The words hung heavy. "You're not just the nanny," David said firmly. "You brought laughter back. Layla trusts you, and I look forward to seeing you every day. This isn't just a job anymore." Claire's breath caught, but before she could respond, Layla's voice rang out, "Daddy, Miss Claire, I'm back." They shared a look, knowing everything had changed. Over the next days, their closeness deepened with unspoken tenderness. Layla sensed it, often declaring how perfect their family felt. One quiet evening, after Layla slept, David knocked softly on Claire's guest house door. Claire opened the door in pajama pants and one of David's old sweatshirts, her hair in a messy bun, no makeup, beautiful, real like home. "I couldn't sleep," he said. "Neither could I," she admitted, letting him in. They sat on her couch, the air heavy with everything unsaid. "I keep thinking about what you said, wanting someone who knows your flaws and loves you anyway," David began. "I know yours. You're stubborn, blame yourself too much, eat ice cream from the carton when stressed, cry at family commercials, and worry constantly about Layla. And I love every one of those things. I love how you protect people, how you make Layla feel important, how you hum while cooking, and buy flowers for the table. I notice everything about you." Claire's tears spilled. Michael had never seen her like this. "I love you, Claire," David said simply. "I love you too," she whispered. "I tried not to, but I can't help it. I love you. I love Layla. I love our life." David cupped her face. "Then marry me. Not for convenience or because Layla needs you, but because I can't imagine life without you." "It's only been 2 months," Claire whispered. "Let people talk," David said. "Layla loved you in 5 minutes. I loved you in 5 days. Some people never connect, but we did. Why wait?" Claire thought of every reason to be cautious, but also of Layla's words in the church, "We need each other." And she knew her answer. "What if Layla doesn't want me as her stepmother?" Claire asked, "What if she likes things as they are? Why don't we ask her?" David smiled. The next morning, they sat Layla at the table with heart-shaped pancakes. "Miss Claire and I want to talk to you," David began. "What if she became part of our family in a different way?" "You mean if you married her and she was my mommy for real?" Layla said matter-of-factly. Stunned, Claire asked, "How did you? I'm not a baby. I can see you love each other. You look at her like you used to look at pictures of mommy, but happy. And how do you feel?" David asked, "I think mommy sent Miss Claire to us. I want her to be my mommy forever." She climbed into Claire's lap. Tears streamed as Claire whispered, "I love you too, sweetheart." David felt peace for the first time since Elena's death. "Should we start planning a wedding?" Layla squealed. "Can I be the flower girl? And can we have chocolate cake?" "You can have anything," Claire laughed. That night, seeing Claire's doubt, David held her hands. "I'll never leave you. Not at the altar, not ever. I'll choose you every day. Promise." "Promise," she whispered, believing him. 2 weeks later, David paced his room nervously. Today he would propose, properly with a ring. Downstairs, Layla kept Claire busy with crafts while he prepared. Hidden in his drawer was a simple, elegant solitaire, timeless, just like Claire. David remembered how Claire once said solitaire rings were most romantic, simple, focused on love itself. The location was clear, not the cathedral's sanctuary of heartbreak, but the garden behind, where roses bloomed and couples took photos. A place to turn her painful memory into beauty. "Daddy!" Layla called downstairs. Are you ready? Miss Claire's getting suspicious. David slipped the ring into his jacket, then found Claire at the kitchen table, glitter and paper scattered as she helped Layla with a secret project. We're up to something, David teased. Maybe, Layla grinned. Later, on a golden autumn afternoon, David drove Claire downtown. When she saw the cathedral, her face shifted. Surprise, worry, then realization. Claire, he said, taking her hand, this is where Sophie found you, where we found each other. I want to make new memories here. In the rose garden, sunlight spilling across the trellis, Layla suddenly appeared with a bouquet. I thought you were with Mrs. Henderson. Claire gasped. I had to come, Layla said solemnly. These flowers are from me, Daddy, and my first mommy, who's watching from heaven, happy about this. Tears filled Claire's eyes as she took the bouquet. David's hands trembled as he reached into his pocket. Claire Reynolds, David said, voice steady. 2 months ago you came into our lives when you needed us most. But we needed you just as much. Dropping to one knee, he opened a small box, revealing a solitaire diamond. Claire gasped, covering her mouth. You've brought laughter and love back to our home, David continued. You've given Layla the mother she's dreamed of, and given me a love I thought I'd never find. Will you marry me? Before she could answer, Layla stepped forward, pulling a bright red ring pop from her pocket. And will you be my mommy forever? She asked solemnly. Tears streamed down Claire's face as she looked at them both. Yes. Yes to everything. Forever. David slipped the ring on her finger while Layla cheered, sliding the candy ring onto Claire's other hand. Now you have 2 rings, because you're getting me and Daddy. They embraced in the golden garden, peace settling over Claire like never before. This wasn't anxious love built on fear, it was steady, kind, real. When should we have the wedding? Layla asked. 2 months, David suggested. Just before Christmas. Perfect, Claire agreed. Back at the car, Mrs. Henderson beamed. I take it everything went according to plan. Better, David said, arm around Claire. That's because I get to be flower girl and maid of honor, Layla declared proudly. That evening, after Layla finally drifted asleep, Claire and David sat on the porch swing. I don't need a big wedding, Claire said firmly. I had that once, it meant nothing. This time I want simple, meaningful, filled with love. David kissed her hair. All I want is to see you walking down the aisle, knowing this time the groom will be waiting. I want Layla to feel like she's gaining a mother, not losing me, David said. She's not losing anything, Claire assured him. She's gaining more love. Kids can't have too many people who love them unconditionally. They sat under the stars until Claire asked quietly, Do you think Elena would approve? David paused, then said, Yes. Not because you replace her, you never could, but because you love Layla the way she would have wanted. Elena will always be her first mother. You'll be her everyday one. Both are beautiful. Tears filled Claire's eyes. I already love her so fiercely it scares me. That's how I know you're meant to be her mother, David said. Inside, Claire caught her reflection, radiant, glowing with joy. I can't wait to marry you. 2 months, David whispered. Then we're a family in every way. 8 weeks later, on a snowy December morning, Claire stood in the bridal suite at St. Mary's Cathedral, this time calm and radiant in a simple ivory gown, hair in soft waves. Beside her, Layla, in pale pink, arranged petals in her basket. Mommy, Layla whispered, still practicing the word. You look like a brave princess. Claire smiled. And you look beautiful. Daddy's going to cry happy tears. Grandma Elena entered with a velvet box. Inside lay a pearl and sapphire bracelet. This was Elena's. She wore it on her wedding day. I'd like you to have it. Claire's tears spilled as the bracelet was clasped on her wrist, a blessing across generations. Meanwhile, David paced downstairs, best man Tom watching with amusement. She'll be here, Tom said. I know, David admitted. I just want this day perfect for her. It will be, Tom replied, because this time it's real. The church was simple but beautiful, white roses and evergreen garlands filling the air with winter's promise. Instead of hundreds of guests, only 50 of most important people were there. Close friends, family, Layla's grandparents, some of David's colleagues, and the mothers from school who had become Claire's friends. When the music began, David took his place at the altar, heart pounding. Layla walked first, scattering rose petals with serious concentration, then beamed and waved at her father. Finally, Claire appeared, hand in hand with Layla. She'd asked that Layla walk her down the aisle, explaining, She's the one who brought us together. It's only right. At the altar, Layla solemnly placed Claire's hand in her father's. David barely heard Pastor Williams. All he could see was Claire's eyes, full of love and trust. His vows came first. When I found you here 8 months ago, I thought I was helping a stranger. Instead, I found the woman who brought joy back into my life, who loved my daughter as her own. You made us a family. I promise to love you, support you, keep my word, and grow with you every day. Through tears, Claire vowed, 8 months ago, I thought my life was over. You and Layla show me love is choosing each other every day. Layla, you saved me with your open heart. I promise to protect and love you always. And David, I promise to be your partner, your best friend, to build a home of safety and love, and never to run away from this life we've created together. When Pastor Williams pronounced them husband and wife, David kissed Claire with 8 months of pent-up love. Layla squealed, tossing her flower petals into the air as the guests erupted in applause. The fellowship hall glowed with twinkling lights and winter blooms. Their first dance to At Last was tender and full of joy, until Layla tapped David's leg and slipped between them, the three swaying together as one. Over chocolate cake, as Layla had requested, Claire looked around at the faces of love surrounding her, Mrs. Henderson dabbing her eyes, Grandma Elena snapping photos, colleagues raising toasts, and Layla's teacher gifting her a book about blended families, inscribed with care. Are you happy? David whispered. I didn't know happiness like this was possible, Claire said. Not a dream, David corrected, spinning her gently. This is our life, and it's just beginning. As they left for their honeymoon, Layla tossed her bouquet directly into Claire's hands. You had to catch it. It's good luck. Standing in the snowy parking lot, Claire realized the day Michael left hadn't been her ending, but her beginning. Ready to go home, Mrs. Mitchell? David asked. I've been ready my whole life, Claire whispered. With Layla waving from Grandma Elena's arms, Claire knew she was exactly where she belonged. Sometimes losing everything leads you to what you truly need. Sometimes a little girl's wisdom, you need a home and I need a mommy, is the answer to prayers you didn't even know you had. Claire Reynolds Mitchell had finally found her happily ever after. The end. Sparkles, thank you for joining Claire, David, and Layla's journey. Have you ever had a child's words change your perspective? What do you think makes a blended family thrive? Do you believe in second chances at love? Share your thoughts below. You may inspire the next heartwarming story.